Workplace bias is typically described as when workers are excluded from experiences and opportunities, typically based off of some form of prejudice, which can occur consciously or unconsciously, when the workers would otherwise be qualified for the opportunities and experiences they are being excluded from. Bias in the workplace can occur based off of a number of factors, including race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, education, prior work experience, age, and prior existing relationships with coworkers. Bias in the workplace is not always intentional. When it is unintentional, it is known as implicit bias. When an individual or the perpetrator is unaware that they are exhibiting bias to the receiving individual or individuals. Bias in the workplace can occur in many different stages of employment, even before employment, such as during the hiring and recruitment process or when an individual is seeking a higher role within the organization. It is also possible for bias to occur in favor of individuals who are typically disadvantaged by workplace bias, just as when management identifies with certain groups in the workplace, such as minorities and females, and seeks to provide preference and assistance to those individuals who will fall within those demographics. Oftentimes, workplace bias occurs even before an individual begins employment or is even given an interview, such as when recruiters are looking over resume pools to find ideal candidates for their positions. Typically, resumes attached to stereotypically sounding Caucasian and/or male names are given better consideration than those with stereotypically sounding minority and/or female names. Researchers at the University of Chicago and MIT conducted a study in which they sent 5,000 resumes out to companies in the Chicago and Boston area. They found that the applications that had resumes with stereotypically sounding Caucasian names were 50% more likely to receive an interview than applications that were attached to stereotypically sounding African American names. Females in the workplace are often also paid less than their male counterparts. A study at Yale University found that females are typically paid less to the tune of around $4,000 than their male counterparts, even when they have equal qualifications or better qualifications than their male counterparts. A study by the Harvard Business Review conducted a similar study to that conducted by the University of Chicago and MIT. In this case, resumes which were manufactured were sent out to STEM-related companies. These resumes were designed to have either stereotypically sounding minority and/or female names in comparison to Caucasian and/or male names. They found that the resumes that were attached to the stereotypically sounding male and/or Caucasian names were given better consideration than the minority and female applicants. The institutions that were given the resumes typically preferred those with applicants that had higher GPAs and who participated in internships at recognizable institutions such as Google and HP, as well as other companies. Typically, for a minority applicant, those with minority sounding names stereotypically and/or female sounding names stereotypically needed to have higher GPAs to be given the same amount of consideration as their Caucasian and/or male counterparts. They also found something similar in regards to internships, even when the applicants who were designed to have stereotypically sounding minority and/or female names interned at identical institutions in identical roles to the Caucasian and/or male counterparts. Those with the Caucasian and/or male sounding names were given more consideration despite having the same internship. It was also found during the study that those who decided to participate in traditional employment, either during summer or while attending classes, weren't given any boost in consideration. showing that the company's preferred internships in comparison to traditional employment, which can disproportionately disadvantage those of lower socioeconomic statuses, as not everyone can afford to attend school while working, oftentimes for unpaid internships. It was also found by the Impact Group that CEOs tend to be white males, tall white males. Despite less than 15% of the population of the United States, the male population, being over 6 foot, it was found that 60% of corporate CEOs are at least over 6 feet tall.